Coming to you live from St. Louis, Missouri.
It's the FasterFreedom Show.
With your hosts, Sam Prim and Lucas Wall.
We talking about freedom?
Welcome to the FasterFreedom Show. My name is Sam.
And I am Lucas.
Lucas, that was a nice way to say, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I missed that intro. I'm glad we're going live again.
I know, I like the intro. It's fun. We go live on Wednesdays at 1:30. Lucas and I jam on Fridays. We have guests, but those are recorded and those come out shortly after that. So you ready to talk all about the debate?
Yeah, let's do it. Trump or Kamala, who you got?
Harris or Trump? We're not going to talk about that. Probably will for a minute. But today's episode, we're going to talk about the 10 obstacles to scaling a rental portfolio. Lucas and I went from 0 to 50 million in 10 years. And we probably went from you tell me, probably 25 to 40 million in 12 months or 15 months. So we scaled very quickly and we screwed up a lot doing it. So that's what we're going to talk about is the issues with scaling a portfolio as quickly as we did.
Yeah, for sure. I just met Adam and Corey for lunch. Good dudes. First time I ever met them, but they own they manage 1,000 doors. And they're like, man, if we just knew about real estate like we know now, we would have bought everything we could from 2015 to 2021. I was like, well, we did.
Well, that's exactly what we did.
I was like, whatever it took, if we wanted to hold it, there was nothing that's going to stop us from that.
No, we held it. Yeah.
We made it happen.
Even if it didn't cash flow, we still held it.
Yeah, I mean, it cash flowed pretty well.
Well,
back
yeah,
then, you know
for
what I mean?
till 21, yeah.
Yeah, but we made it happen. But a lot of challenges come along with that, and we're going to bring those real life challenges into some of these topics today.
So, what did you think about the debate? You watched the whole thing?
I did.
I left about a half an hour left. Because Courtney was putting Maisie down. We wanted to watch it together because she's voting for the first time ever in life, which is really cool because she hates Donald Trump, which is fine.
Yeah.
So she's voting, and she wanted to watch it together. So we got half an hour start, and it was 10:30, and it wasn't done yet. I'm like, I'm going to bed. I was tired. But it was interesting.
Yeah, I got down a little after it started, so I rewinded it and watched.
Give me
it
your
from the
thoughts, or
beginning.
get some hate.
Yeah, no. In general, I thought, there was parts that I thought Kamala did well at, and same thing for Trump, but more.
I think Harris is easy because I still don't know how to say her name. Kamala or Kamala?
Oh, great question.
See, I think it's Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala. I thought it was Kamala. Yeah.
I don't know, but I just say Harris because everybody
Yeah.
else's last name, and I don't want
So, Trump and
to
Harris.
say it wrong and be disrespectful. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, same here. Utmost of respect to both the candidates. It takes a lot of pressure being in that situation for sure. That's nerve-wracking. That's what Harris has done, though. That's where she shines. She is a debater. She's an attorney.
A master debater.
Yeah, so I just don't like, I felt like, they just never answer the freaking question.
No, they don't.
And then it's always, they turn it to the other person or they turn it to a different subject. And I guess that's part of the art, but it's so freaking annoying watching
Neither of them ever answered any questions, really. And it was funny because and I'll give you my thoughts on it, which I don't know if it pissed some people off, maybe it won't, but it was funny, the very first question, he's said something, I don't remember what it was, and she's like, I'm from the middle class. She just went
that
right.
was the worst one, I thought.
Well, she went into
opening.
she just went into her.
I felt like they both got more pointed as it went on, but that first question, the opening question, she obviously had something scripted she wanted to say, but yeah, didn't even address was the economy better off today than it was 4 years ago?
Yeah.
And she should have just hit that head on.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
No, didn't even mention it.
Nope, not
So,
for 3 minutes straight monologue.
That's wild, isn't it?
Who do you? I don't know. There's not a scorecard.
Yeah.
So besides voting in 50 days or something. I thought it was definitely interesting. So there's not a winner or loser really. They both had some zingers that were kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like her zinger of 81 million people fired you,
Yeah.
and you didn't you
And
can't. That was pretty good. And some of his stuff was some of the things that they both said were true and inaccurate. But they both lied a lot, and they both said some truths, and they both had their own way of doing it. I thought she came out smelling pretty good. I thought she did better than I thought she would do, not knowing anything about her really, because. The thing I don't love is just I don't know anything about her, and I feel like I'm pretty informed more than ever because she hasn't done interviews, hasn't done debates before, all those kind of things. So, or at least in the last few years. So, it was good to learn a little bit more about her. She's very well spoken, and I know people will get annoyed with her how she talks and kind of her voice. But I thought she came out looking pretty good, and I thought I thought he did pretty good in the middle of it. Then he started to get frustrated. And
Yeah.
if there had to be a winner, and like I'm not even talking about who I'm going to vote for, I would probably say her.
Yeah.
However, it was the most insane debate I've ever seen as far as like the bias of it. Like I've never seen a debate worse than that, where like he was being fact checked. The people running the debate literally stopped him and fact checked him, and they didn't fact check her one time. I've never seen that, and they wouldn't even let like him finish. So it was, and people on social media were going crazy about it, you know, on his side. But
for sure,
it was 3 versus 1. I do agree. I don't think he did the best. I think he could have done better, but it was 3 versus 1. It was tougher.
Yeah. I think.
I'm saying I think she did better.
Yeah,
but
I think there's something to that for sure. I mean, I think he brings some of that on himself
Agreed.
with a lot of the outlandish things he says and all of his hyperboles. You know, we're the best administration.
I
in
wish he would back
history
that
of
up
the
a little.
world. Because everything he says is the best that's ever been. And so it makes it tough to believe anything
I
else.
100% agree with that. But they both lied, and there's fact checkers on both
Yeah.
sides, but they didn't call. The point is she wasn't called out on it.
Yeah.
And the people aren't supposed to fact check. They're just supposed to let them talk, and they were like, "No, that's not true, Trump. That's not true. That's not true." It was kind of wild.
They did a decent job of letting them talk, even if they didn't have a planned rebuttal.
Correct.
Like they kind of backed up and
did.
just let them go. I thought Harris did a good job of dodging the questions that she didn't want to get into, and then baiting Trump into stuff
she baited
that
him.
she wanted to talk about,
Yeah.
like the Capitol riot and stuff. Trump kept going back to that. I'm like, that is not something you want to. That's not what you want to be debating on right now. You know what I mean? So, in general, like the Obamacare thing was probably my favorite section. I thought Trump was very candid when he talked about, he had 2 options: letting it like die or making it better. And he's like, "Hey, I chose to try to make it better." And well, what's your plan to replace it? He's like, "I don't have a plan right now. I'm not the president or whatever." I thought he was super candid there, but I thought Harris did a great job of tugging on the heartstrings when it comes to what Obamacare is and why it came to fruition and stuff. So great points from both of them. I mean, I thought it was civil enough, right?
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. So, overall, I watched it.
It was better than like the constant name calling that has been in the past. I would like to go back to the point where, like, you could shake hands before the debate. I know they shook hands after, or they shook hands before. It was kind of awkward, and they just shook hands today at the 9/11 memorial or whatever. It seemed civil enough, but I would like to get it back where it's just not so visceral. But the couple of things that I noticed, again, like I thought she did pretty good. She didn't really answer a ton of questions. I know the biggest fault on her is she doesn't really have a plan. His run dog run or whatever thing was weird, but like she hasn't really laid out any specific plans, which I understand and agree with. But again, I still think if he wasn't so outlandish, it'd be a little bit better. And the biggest thing that bugged me out of all of it, which it didn't bug me either way, because I don't like identify honestly with a party. I just feel like I'm an American I'm not like a pawn for like all these people that just regurgitate stuff. But like the Ukraine and Russian war, that was super awkward for me. Like the moderator like tried to pin down, do you want Ukraine to win or not? And he didn't do that with Kamala. Like he was trying to get Trump to like piss off Russia and like have him say that. So he like went at Trump like 4 times.
It's an interesting
but
question.
They didn't do that at Kamala is my point. Or Harris. She didn't ask her.
Well, because she handled it how they handled it.
Yeah.
Right? So there's nothing to really pin
down. But they were like, they were asking him, do you want Ukraine to win the war or not?
Yeah.
They didn't ask Kamala. They didn't ask Harris
Well,
that.
because Trump was like, hey, I'll solve it, but does that mean Ukraine's part of Russia now?
Yeah.
Is the question. You know what I mean? And obviously,
but he can't
NATO
answer that.
and our current administration doesn't want that to happen. They want Ukraine to
And
stay a part of NATO.
wouldn't think he would either, but who knows, I guess.
Yeah, so.
But I felt like they were trying to back him in the corners, all 3 of them, which was unfair. But he's acts childish and he's immature and he's outlandish a little bit. So.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I thought he did fine.
My views on Trump didn't really change. I have a little more of a comfortability level if Harris would get elected, but who knows? Either way, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
The country will be fine either way.
We're going to be fine.
People that think that one going, like, the country's going to be ruined if one or the other goes in is just obnoxious.
We have a lot of improvements to make.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And honestly, I feel like we're trending in the right direction. It's been a hard past couple years. You know what I mean? But
For
I think
a lot of people.
I honestly think if Trump got reelected, it'd been a hard past couple years regardless. So, I think we're getting on the tail end of this. Prices are starting to stabilize for people. They'll never go back to what they were, but at least they're starting to become the new norm and kind of stabilize, hopefully.
Well, and I think inflation just came in at 2.5%.
Yeah, that's a good number.
And
what's driving it up is real estate and auto insurance.
Yeah.
Are like the two things that are driving it up. But a lot of stuff has went down.
And they're going to 100% lower interest rates, especially after that. Like we already knew they were, but especially I could see a half a point now with that 2.5% inflation.
Yeah.
But who knows? Regardless, a lot of work to do. I think
it's a good number. It's good for everybody, no matter who the heck president is. Getting that back under control is positive.
I agree, and I think in general, it's been like it was a good couple years. The first part of the Biden administration, the last couple years, has been tough, and I agree. I think some things would be different, but in general, the sentiment would be same. I feel like this is the first time we're going through, whether they claim us as a recession right now, because I think that's a lagging indicator, so they'll tell us in 6 months if we're in a recession right now. Whether we're in one or not, we're damn close. Yeah. And I feel like this is the first one we've experienced as business owners.
I'm positive about the next 4 years, no matter who gets elected.
Honestly. I agree. And people that aren't, I just feel kind of bad for them that they get like nervous or scared, like they think if they legitimately think the country's going to hell, either one gets elected. Everything we've done, there's third world countries that are literally people don't know where they get water and food. Our country's doing great overall compared to a lot of the world. People that really think we're going to go to hell because one or the other person gets, I feel bad for them because that's a scary feeling.
Yeah,
if they really think that sucks.
Yeah.
All right. Hard left on to growing a real estate portfolio. It's a little longer than we wanted, but in general, I think our takes are, as always, usually pretty moderate in the middle. I don't really identify hard with either side.
Yeah.
Cool. Although I will say this publicly, I do like Vivek a lot. I've told you that before.
Yeah, you do.
I like him as a business owner and as a politician.
Yeah, I don't know much about him.
I think you would like him. Just he's not afraid to have a conversation, and he loves debating both sides, and I feel like he's very well spoken. I think most people would like Vivek.
Cool.
On both sides. All right. So let's talk about 10 obstacles to scaling run a portfolio. As we said earlier, and you probably just feel like you were bait and switched a little bit. We did not mean to. We just wanted to. Luke's and I haven't seen each other since the debate, so we're going to have a talk about it.
Yeah. You guys got to join in with us.
Yes, probably didn't love it, but whatever. Screw you.
Yeah.
That was aggressive.
That was.
Okay, I'm fine.
Is that to Shane or to our listeners?
That was to Shane.
Okay.
Sorry, Shane's mom. All right. So the number one obstacle, or not the number one, these are not in order. These are just in the order that Shane put them on the sheet. So these are not in order of importance or issue. But the number one we want to talk about, the first one, how about that's a better way to put it, is access to capital and financing. You don't have to use your own money to buy real estate, but you have to use somebody's money to buy real estate. And there's not money falling off of trees if you don't know where to look, especially.
Yeah, and when we talk about scaling, depending on how fast you want to scale and get this thing up and going, there's a lot of times there's multiple deals going at once. So, and to each deal, there's multiple financing parts to it. You got the front end financing, and that could be broken up into multiple buckets with a hard money lender and a private lender, a hard money lender, line of credit, whatever. And then you have the back end financing, where you got to have that good long term debt in place to make sure you cash flow. So having multiple avenues to draw from up front and the back end is super important. And if one of those stalls, your real estate scaling stalls. So
do you like front end or back end better?
Oh, front end.
Okay. Sorry, Shane's mom. I think the point is, having multiple, it's saying it similar to you, but slightly different. It's just having those multiple sources of income, allowing you to be able to pull from either one. If you have one private lender and one small local bank, that's fine, but you're probably not going to do 10 projects a year. But if you have two private lenders, two hard money lenders, 3 local banks, and a line of credit, you'll probably be able to do 5 at once.
Yeah.
If you really want to, or at least a couple at once.
Yeah, a quick example of 2 new houses that Sam and I bought this past week. We were trying a new lender. There were some wrinkles in the paperwork or something where it didn't happen, and we weren't able to go through, or we had to bring like 30 grand more to the table. We're like, I don't know if we're comfortable with that. So we pivoted to our other relationship, hard money lender, and they were able to close it in 5 days. So just having those relationships gives you that flexibility.
Yeah, no, it does. It just allows you to be able to pivot like that and do multiple deals, which is key, because the key to scaling is you don't have to do 12 projects like we kind of usually sometimes have going on at a time, or more if you're talking about rental stuff, flipping in rentals. But 2 or 3 is manageable for
Oh, yeah.
somebody, and especially if they have a business partner, but it's not manageable if you don't have the money.
For sure. And 2 or 3, at one time, that probably equates to, I don't know.
5 or 6 a year.
Yeah, not a whole bunch, because there's a
Well,
lot
I mean, starting from 0, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
lot,
it's
but
good, But you have to have, even though you're only adding 6 a year, you have to have financing for 3 at a time, give or take. So another quick example of how it halted our scaling was we went with only one local bank for a long time on the refinance on the back end, your favorite, and
Depends on what angle you're talking about, but yes.
So we didn't file our tax returns on time, so we were bumping up against our bank's guidance limits, and we had rentals finished sitting, waiting to get refinanced to pay off that front loan, and we couldn't do it because
Bumping up against the back end.
so that opened our eyes to kind of go up and go out and build relationships with multiple long-term financing partners.
And that's the funny part, not the funny part, Lucas, but the interesting part about that is we've talked about multiple small local bank relationships for years. Even when we, for the past 5 or 6 years, I've been telling people multiple, but we were so comfortable with our one main small local bank, and they made it so easy with such a good
And rates were
relationship.
so good.
We kind of got away from that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's a good lesson to learn. Like I tell everybody, and I've told everybody, 3 small local banks. I've heard you say it, but we got away from it just because when you actually do things, a lot of things are happening, and you just kind of lose sight of certain things. So
sure.
we screw up all the time, and that was one of them.
Yep,
Cool.
absolutely.
I want you to introduce number 2.
Number 2 is finding quality deals, or just deal flow in general. We have a whole business dedicated to going out and finding deals at a discount. It's not super easy. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of relationships, a lot of skill to be able to consistently have deal flow, to be able to add 5 or 10 houses a year. If you're adding 5 or 10 houses a year, for every one house, you got to make 10 offers. That means you probably got to walk 20 or 30 properties for every one house. That's a lot of effort that needs to be involved there. So, as soon as you take the eye off the ball and you're ready to scale again, it's too late. Then you have a 6-month gap where you don't buy a house because you weren't actively trying to find deals. So the consistent lead flow is extremely important. There's a lot of obviously different ways to go about that Sam's going to get into.
Yeah, well, and to kind of put a pin in that thought is this is why people get, and people that listen to this know we don't talk about it a ton, but this is why people get communities and mentorships and coaching. There's so much that goes into this. You didn't even mention, the first thing that popped in my head is getting good at quickly underwriting a deal on paper.
Yeah.
So you don't look at 20 houses and buy one. You look at 10 and buy one because you spend 5 minutes understanding fully the max allowable offer formula. You're able to get an ARV quickly and look at pictures and get a rehab budget quickly.
Yep.
Know your numbers, and boom, you spend 5 minutes. Okay, I'm not going to waste 2 hours
get more
walking
efficient with your time.
So there's that, and
Yep.
then there's the lead flow side, which is what we're getting into. So having multiple lead sources, again, multiple everything if you want to scale. So you have the relationships, which is where we push people, wholesalers, real estate agents. But then there is software, which
Yep.
we're getting ready to launch Deal Pilot here
Let's
in
go.
a week. We're going to be able to launch a software that allows people to get deals using AI and a lot of different things, but having systems and processes in place to get multiple lead sources. There's like 30 of them. I usually tell people wholesalers, real estate agents are a non-negotiable. Build relationships with them and then figure out what your niche is going to be. Is it going to be driving for dollars? Is it going to be direct mail? Is it going to be cold calling? Is it going to be bandit signs? Is it going to be PPC? Is it going to be PPL? Is it going to be whatever? People don't have enough skill and money to do multiple. So
Yeah.
I tell people non-negotiable, wholesalers, real estate agents, but then pick one lane of paid to go
I
down.
love that. Beautiful.
Cool. Anything else to add?
No, that's great.
Victorious has been listening the whole time. Say thanks, Victorious. There he is. We're talking to one person on X.
What's up, Victorious?
All right, cool. So yeah, network, and the answer is Deal Pilot. We're going to introduce you to for deal sources. All right, number 3 is cash flow management. This was kind of one of the bigger boo-boos for us, and that is understanding what cash flow actually looks like and managing it. You have the funding side of cash flow management, the purchase and the rehab. You have the cash flow management after you close on it to make sure your cash flow. So which one do you want to go at first?
Yeah, both. Let's talk about both. So, and then just understanding the difference a little more, and then we'll dig into each individual one. But yeah, so when you're cash flow is an interesting thing, right? You could profit a lot of money per month. And then in a real estate business, especially where construction's involved, you could run out of money, period. Because those are balance sheet items and not profitability items. So to have, like, if you just had 10 rentals sitting over an account doing their thing, it's pretty simple to manage, right? But then you add a layer of, oh, I bought a new property. Here's a private lender check. Here's my rehab funds check. Here is the actual rehab expenses going out. Oh, I went 10 grand over. Whoopsie, which happens all the time. It can
Not to us, but
it can get really complicated and messy, and it's very challenging to understand your numbers.
Yes, so it's whenever things are kind of, you have multiple balls in the air and you're trying to figure out what everything is, it's really tough. And then when you just add more projects in, we've seen this, we've done this to where something cash flows on paper, you buy everything and it looks great. It's out the door. You hit your numbers, boom, it's going to cash flow this much, and just sometimes it doesn't.
Yep.
And you don't, and if you're not keeping track of these things, you don't know why.
Yeah.
And then you either can refinance again, or you can sell it. You need to know these things, and we're figuring out these things now. And part of it is because we're knuckleheads. Part of it is because we bought that 12 or 15 million in a short period of time that we're figuring those things out. So yeah, just getting managing the cash flow on all different angles, and just having a strong accounting or bookkeeping arm or wing is super, super important.
Yeah. We've even kicked around the idea of doing those in separate accounts, having like a acquisition construction bank account set up where that's all of that, and then your rental properties are in another account, so you can keep those separate and clean, and you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul and dipping into other funds.
Yeah, and what was that book? You read that one book, and our First State Bank wanted to kill us because you tried to set up like 7 bank accounts.
A profit first?
It was profit, yeah, so it was profit first,
Yeah.
so the idea was good. But I remember, like, you set up like these 6 bank accounts, and they're like, what do you do? And you're like, we're going to have all the money going to this one, then this one. Was probably smart, but we just didn't follow through.
Yeah, it was a little complicated for the level we were at the time.
Yeah, we had like 4 rentals. Luke's like, all right, bro, we're going to have 8 bank accounts for 4
Yeah.
rentals. That was pretty funny. All right, what's the 4th one?
Oh, 4th one. Let's get to the next one, Samuel.
Well, yeah, we don't got all day, Lucas.
Oh, man. The next one is property management and maintenance.
This is an obstacle for sure.
This is a huge obstacle to this day for us.
I think this obstacle whether you have 2 or 200.
Yeah. So just understanding that there's a difference between being a real estate investor and a property manager. They're completely separate. If you don't want to deal with tenants and collecting rent and all that stuff, that's fine. Go out there and find an excellent property management company. There's some challenges in that alone. There's not a whole bunch of great single-family rental property management companies out there.
Very few.
Very few. But they're out there. So if you find one and you want to be as passive as possible, it's a great option. But make sure you interview the right people and try to find that right one. The other option which is this option that we went after a few years, is building out your own property management team. It's a whole separate business, right? It's a lot of fun, and no one treats your assets as good as you do, but you have to grow the property management side as you scale as well. So it's multiple businesses scaling at once.
Yeah. So the biggest issue with it is most property management companies don't have their systems and processes in place, and they're trying. It's a low margin business, so they treat it like that, like the quality of people they have, the ability they have to manage the property
Just to squeak out a bottom line number
quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
They can't have one staff member for every 10 properties. It's got to be one for every 75 or 100. So that's the issue, and it's not their asset, so they don't manage it like their own.
Yeah.
So having a company that's like on the cutting edge of technology, has staff on place, has 1,000 doors, 500 doors, has scale, and is profitable, I feel like that company's better than a company that has 200 rentals that's trying to break even as far as like managing rentals.
For sure, yeah, and just having hiring a company that has the same values as you too. Like, what do you expect from a level of customer service for your tenants, right? If God forbid you don't care about them. I mean, those people are out there. They're just like, give me my rent, right? I don't care what they say, what the property looks like. That's not us.
No.
So that's not the property management company we would like to hire. We want high-level customer service. We want people to enjoy living on our properties.
100%. All right, so this one kind of bleeds into the next one. The next one is tenant turnover and vacancies. This is huge because the most expensive part about owning rental properties after everything's paid and done and you have it in the books as rented and it's refinanced is turnover.
Yeah.
Because you are not collecting rent, even if it's for 30, 60, 90 days, which is a long time. You're not collecting rent, but you still have a mortgage to pay. You still have taxes to pay. You still have insurance to pay.
Utilities go in your name.
Utilities go in your name. That's another thing you don't have. And then you shouldn't be paying vacancy because you're not collecting any rent. But you have all this outflow of cash and zero inflow besides whatever your vacancy has built up to.
Exactly.
So it's if it takes you 90 days to fill a unit, I'm fairly confident that you're not going to cash flow. That entire year's cash flow is gone.
Yeah.
However, if you can get things turned in 15, 30 days, if you have processes in place to where the tenant's moving out and maybe you're showing it before, they're moving out and you're showing it the last couple of weeks before they move out, or you have a crew ready to go clean it up and get it listed and everything's done besides maybe just getting it cleaned up and then you can list it, or, referrals that you get from people that are looking for properties, these people, are looking for properties here, I'm going to call them. So it takes a lot, but if you can get that in place, and I'm not even talking about the front end, which is your favorite apparently. You can talk about that in a minute, but having those in place for when they move out is huge.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of this, so another big part of that outflow is fixing up the property before it's ready for another tenant, right? And a lot of that is the amount you spend on turnover is going to be based on your quality of rehab on the front end. So we're doing value add deals. We're executing the burst strategy. So we're rehabbing these up front. And if we cut corners up front, we're going to have to deal with that from a pure cash flow standpoint of outflow of fixing that at tenant turnover. So we want to rehab things the right way up front so it limits our turnover cost.
And approve good tenants is where I thought you were going, but you even went a step before that. So the next step would be approving good tenants. If you want to be in the catbird seat, you have to have good rehabs and good tenants.
Yep. Absolutely great phrase there. So it's all about scale, and we talk about vacancies. In the rental portfolio game, scaling is your friend and is your safety net. If you have 3 rentals and one of them's vacant, then you're at 67% occupancy.
That's not good.
You can't make money at 67% occupancy. If you have 10 rentals and one of them's vacant, you're at 90%. Still ain't fantastic, but you can make money or break even at 90% occupancy, right? So I think scaling to that 10 is very important, and then it opens up a lot of doors and flexibility and a level of safety for you guys.
100%. So spend some extra time up front approving the right tenant, communicate with them properly, set the right expectation, and treat tenants like your friends and not like your enemies, or make your kind of house, what we say around here, make your house somewhere where somebody wants to live, not has to live, and then they'll stay longer.
Yeah, love it.
I like it. What's the next one, Walls?
Market volatility.
What do you think about that one?
Yeah, a lot to that one. I would say the real estate market in general over the course of the last several decades has been pretty steady Eddie is the good news, right? We've had quite the blip in 2008. Had a little blip here. Was a couple years ago now, 2023, give or take. But in general, the asset prices haven't changed in our market, at least, that much to make much of a difference. The things that have changed a lot are interest rates. And us using the no money out of pocket value add strategy, interest rates are a big part of being able to cash flow. And as interest rates rose, a lot of deals that used to be deals for us are no longer deals. So it's been very hard to scale.
Yeah. I think the other side of that, Lucas, is interest rates scaled very quickly.
Yeah.
They didn't cap out that high compared to what they have been, but they scaled quickly. And I felt like, not being as involved in you as on the rental side, I felt like the first half of the scaling, rental rates kind of stood with them. And then the last half of the scaling, rental rates kind of leveled out a little bit. The rental rates didn't keep up with the pace that interest rates were keeping up. And I felt like they did for a while. Interest rates, I remember looking at I did research for videos, and rental rates were going up like crazy. Yeah. And that was kind of keeping up with it. But there's a max of what people can afford, and interest rates have nothing to do with what people can afford. So they kept going, and people uncle, I can't pay anymore.
We talked about the CPI report reported, and cost of shelter is a big part of that, and it's still, at a sticky high point. It's at like 5%, and that includes, housing prices, rent as well. So there's got to be a cap to that. I know it's settled down a little bit, but just like in the buying and selling real estate world, in the rental real estate world, inventory is key, right? So if there's a large amount of inventory out there, it's just that much more important that your product stands out and that you're able to rent it quickly for that higher amount. Right now, we're still a little compressed, so things are renting pretty quickly, but that can change, and that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, 100%. I think in general, I think we got lucky, Lucas, with kind of our snafus and our some avoidable, some not avoidable growing pains we went through. Being supply, just having that anchor, and it's a little bit of a tangent, but having that supply be so low on the new sale, on new houses as well as on rentals, it just saved our bacon. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't grow like us, but like the fuck ups that we did, unintentionally, obviously, I feel like it would have been a lot worse had supply been like what it was, back in whatever 404, 05, or just normal supply. It's just been so low. It's kind of it raises the floor, if that makes sense.
For sure, and I think
Shane said it made sense. He nodded his head. He's getting ready to fix a camera, I think.
You're right. We did get lucky in a lot of ways, and I'll freaking take it, man.
Oh yeah, we got.
We
worked our dicks off.
We're still lucky. We're still in such a good spot. Like I think the article just came out of top 5 real places to invest in real estate in the country, and St. Louis was number 5. Like there's people that see what St. Louis can provide and what real estate can do, and we're sitting right in the heart of it in acquiring properties, holding properties, managing for people that want to be here. So we're set up really strong. So St. Louis is the shit.
Yeah, and I used to say, and I still kind of do, like, hey, if you're picking between St. Louis and Kansas City, you have no connections, maybe go Kansas City. Like Kansas City is, I feel like, a similar to St. Louis, but maybe a little bit like, not more modern. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit newer, like a growing city. In the past 20 years, it's grown more than St. Louis has.
Yeah, I can see that.
However, I just saw, and it was Business Insider. I've been interviewed by them. They check all of our statements, so it's verified stuff. Like Kansas City's went down like 7% year over year, and in this exact time frame, we went up 3.5%. You just looked at it. So Kansas City, great market, 3 hours away, same state. Went down 7%, which it's going to bounce back quickly. I think they probably peaked higher too. But we went up 3.5%. That's a 10% swing. That's a lot when it comes to owning millions of dollars in assets. That's a shit ton.
We're in a good spot.
Yeah. So anyways, and picking a market, I guess, is a good way to do that. Diversify across markets and diversify across asset classes. That's one thing we did pretty well. Management of them aside, we have short term, we have some midterm, we have long-term, we have Section 8, we have market rent, we have storage facilities, we have a hotel, we have apartment complexes. Is that all of it? Yeah, and the commercial building.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're pretty diversified across real estate. You can go, which you know nothing about, you can go really deep into real estate. It's one thing, it's a niche down. Yep, it's niche down. However, you can kind of spread it pretty wide, which you probably don't know anything about either.
Nope, deep or wide, I don't know.
There you go.
Front
What's that
or
song?
back, deep or wide?
Deep or wide, flowing deep and wide. All right, okay, Shane knows that.
Oh boy.
All right, that was actually a church song, is what I was singing.
I can imagine. That was a church song.
It was.
What did I think that was like? The hip hop song of the week? No, Sam.
Flowing deep and wide, and you go and wide, right? Like you take out words and go okay. All right, okay. Number whatever.
Yeah,
is this me or is this you?
This is number 10, 9, 8, 7. Number 7.
7. Legal and regulatory compliances. This one we won't spend a ton of time on. Just keep an eye. You don't want to not be in the catbird seat and like go into short-term rentals and then your city outlaws them or something like that. So just be aware of all the legal compliances. And honestly, this goes a little bit with the last one. I don't think I want to own single-family houses in California with the laws and the tax, like just knowing what market has which pros and cons. But if we were to open up a virtual flipping business, like probably could do really well in California because of the prices. So it's just one of those things, understanding the strengths and weaknesses of a specific market for your specific strategy, and then obviously the legalities of what is even allowed in those cities. Like Dallas, you can't have short-term rentals now.
Yeah.
But you can do midterm rentals, so just knowing those kind of things.
For sure, and I think, this could be applicable to any market, and from a more like tactical standpoint where we've seen challenges is like on the municipality level, and, we in our area, we have to get an occupancy inspection for it to be approved for the next tenant to move in. And I feel like those kind of get harder and harder and harder, and then they adopt new codes, and then we have to upgrade panels and stuff. It's just a challenging thing to navigate, but it's possible. So just something to be aware and understand those local municipalities at a local level. I think it's more important than a macro level.
Nice. You hit number 8, Walls.
All right, sounds good. Time and energy. Yeah, it takes a little bit of both, right?
It does.
But man, owning a $50 million real estate portfolio, would you say it's worth it?
I think it is.
Hell yeah, it is,
I think
man.
the what is it? The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, light at the end of the tunnel. It's a known thing. Owning real estate assets, the benefits of that is known. Unlike the e-com stores we got into, like who knows where the hell's that going to go? NFTs, people made so much money now they're literally worthless. So you're chasing something and you're putting in effort and that time and energy into a known outcome, which I think makes it a little bit more motivated as opposed to maybe this is going to work. I don't know. Or you're starting a new landscape company, like cool, but like where's it going to go? Like you're owning assets that have been proven through time, through recessions, through technology, through everything. You're owning shelter, so it's worth it.
Yeah, and I think buying it cash or not doing the value add strategy, buying something market rent, you're still going to see those benefits, but the type of benefits that we see using the value add strategy is you can get big wins quickly. We just bought 2 houses side by side, and we're going to add $120,000 to our balance sheet in a course of a month without using $1 of our own money. Like that is worth it to me.
Yes.
A little time and energy to get $100,000 bump on your net worth with one transaction. It's super powerful, and you can have those. That's not even a micro win, but you can have micro wins where you're adding.
It's a double.
Where you're adding 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 net worth every house you buy, and just seeing that stack up and compound, and then you put in appreciation and debt pay down over time. It just gets super powerful and a lot of fun to watch, and it'll help you stay motivated throughout the process.
Yeah, I think being able to see that the cash flow is not the sexy part. I get it, but everything else, if you look at the tax benefits, look at the net worth gain, all those things, that's the motivating part.
Yeah.
Getting $150, $220 a month cash flow is not super motivating to a lot of people, but everything else is more more powerful in my opinion anyway. So just obviously not wanting to lose money, but looking at that kind of stuff. Yeah. I like it.
Beautiful.
All right. Number 9, and I even have a bonus one, Lucas.
You mean after 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Risk management. So this one kind of it's separate, but a lot of these are linked, obviously. But having risk management as far as the right insurance, which we're looking into, having plans in place to when a tornado knocks over a self-storage facility or an apartment complex floods. Both of those things we've had happen. So having risk management mitigation things in place where that doesn't sink you because you're $100,000 out of pocket.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, probably not as important with 1 house, 2 houses, 3 houses, but as you scale and have more assets, spread across your town or spread across the country, whatever your investment strategy looks like, and some risk management becomes more and more important, and it does cost some money. But, you spend all the time and energy that we just talked about building this thing, so you want to be able to protect it.
I like it. I agree 100%. All right, number 10. Hit it, Walls.
Ego taking the wheel.
This is the one I added. Can you tell by the note?
I love it, man. Oh, by the not, yes. There's not many notes to that, but that's all right. We'll roll with it.
We'll get them. I feel like we ignored half of Shane's notes anyway, but at least gave us some good direction. Good job, Shane.
Yeah, I think everybody has an ego in them. Most of my poor decisions in my life were based on ego or pride.
Like the bar fights?
Yeah, or anything. The ego and pride getting in the way. And
yes.
What are some examples of how you think that plays out when you're scaling your rental portfolio, Sam?
Well, I just think and a little bit what we've done, and everybody has an ego. If you don't think you do, you probably have the worst one. But I think and we did this to a certain degree. It's not that we talked about it, but just thinking that like you're invincible and everything I buy turns, like I always say this about Dave Ramsey. We disagree, and he's so hard in his ways because everything he's done has worked. So why would he look at any other way? So just having that one-sided side of it, like every apartment we buy is going to cash flow because the other ones have. Just getting so much confidence and ego unintentionally is something that makes you probably make decisions you shouldn't have made because you think it's going to work out, or you just think it always has and always will. Like I'm reading "Ego is the Enemy" right now, and it talks a lot about this kind of things. That's probably why this popped in my head to make it number 10. But having too big of an ego, I don't think anybody will tell you that's a good thing. Like having confidence playing a sport or something like that, but like letting ego drive your decisions and not the numbers or the facts is not good.
Yeah, confidence blended with humility is a superpower, and you know, there's probably a fine line between being really confident.
Like Trump's got the perfect
ego.
line. He's no ego involved. Just. Oh, Shaner doesn't like that. He's like kicking when he's down. It's a joke.
Yeah. But you know, that it could easily blend into having too much of an ego and feeling like you're invincible and feeling like interest rates will be low forever, feel like values are gonna continue to raise year over year every single year. You know, it's just not feasible. So just understanding the risk side of it and keep being level-headed and sticking to your numbers, and I think it'll really help you mitigate some mistakes.
Yeah, I think that the it's interesting. Ego, charisma, all those things people are attracted to, but I think people are more attracted to like leaders who have that humble confidence, or what are the words you use? It wasn't humble.
Humility.
Like humility, but confidence at the same time. That humility it's so attractive to people. Like I've noticed this, and this is a weird analogy maybe, but I've noticed this in like sports announcers that do really well, that like Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, the ones that are like ex-players that like Tony Romo, just like he's incredible. Like you talk really positively, like he was a quarterback, maybe he's better than the quarterback he's talking about, but he's not like bragging about how good he was, or like if you have that humility about you and like are wowed by other people that do something that maybe you did better, that's humility, that's lack of ego, and people like love that. It just gets a positive vibe.
Yeah, and it's.
How's like that analogy?
I like it. I think it's hard to show that humility when you haven't been in the trenches. And I think like that particular example, like they know how hard what that person is doing is. And switching to this example, like we understand how hard this is as well. So remembering that as you grow, and never forget that, even if you're
never get where you came from,
even if you're in the announcer's booth.
I like it. All right, so guess what my bonus is?
Yeah, what's your bonus one?
Long-term mindset. I think this is a big one, actually, and I just thought of it as we were going. Like having that long-term mindset that cash flow is not the end-all, be-all. Yes, you need it, but there's other benefits. Understanding that you are going to have months where you lose money owning $20 million worth of real estate if like things hit, and just having a long-term mindset that if you hold this through all the benefits are going to be astronomical. Like if we stop buying real estate today, I can say with very much confidence that what is 2024, let's be conservative, by 2040, so 16 years, it'll be worth $100 million.
Yeah,
without us, if we stop buying, we would have $100 million worth of, and we'd probably owe 10, maybe 15, whatever it would be. So just looking at that as you go through all the shit that you go through growing and scaling, there's like we talk about, we've stumbled a little bit in the past, and especially maybe a little bit this year with everything, and that's part of the process. I've never seen. I just burped. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did too.
I've never seen anybody's story on like a book, an autobiography, a movie, a true whatever, that didn't have like ups and downs. There's no straight path upward. So
yeah, for sure. I think and I think that can come in up front too, that long-term mindset. I think people wanting to build a rental portfolio hopefully have that, and if you don't, you're going to be very disappointed.
That's what I mean. You need that.
You need that, and it's hard to pass up that long-term equity growth, tax benefits, future cash flow for a $40,000 paycheck today, right?
Yep.
But if you can, have some sort of income that you can live off of, so you can keep that 40 grand in the deal and be able to see what it's going to be in 10, 15 years, I think you're going to be much better off.
I guess I should have worded as the obstacle is short-term mindset, but I guess it was just a bonus of what to do is have a long-term mindset.
Yeah, love it.
All right, make sure you are sharing this if you have not, whatever platform you watch, if you're watching live on YouTube, and if you're listening to the recording and you thought it was funny or entertaining, or you like how mean Lucas is to me and how I take it well, you can share this with a friend. All right, ready for real or fake?
Yep.
All right, so real or fake, it's going to be on the screen. We don't know it, so we're not even going to explain it. You're just going to figure it out as you go. Real or fake headlines?
All right, so the headline is Google is deleting Gmail accounts. 3 steps needed to keep yours.
I would say real.
I'm going to say fake. Let's say the right words.
It is real.
Nice.
It is a real headline. It's probably just them cleaning their server and stuff, all the bot accounts.
Yeah.
So like, my Gmail's going to go away if I don't do something? No.
It's probably just the inactive ones that have not been signed in for
well, the why I didn't
2 or 3 years.
where I said fake because it says unless you do these 3 steps or whatever, I thought. But anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. Next one is, let me see here. Maddow, so that's Rachel Maddow, interrupts live interview with Waltz to tell him about Mickey Mouse endorsing their administration.
That just seems so off the wall to not be a real headline.
But he could.
Or maybe this was Taylor Swift, and he just switched it.
Yeah, so that's was sneaky freaking Shane. He
Yeah.
could sneak one word in and make it real or false.
Okay, I'm gonna say false then.
I'm gonna say true or real.
It
Fake.
is a fake headline.
Lucas, you're crushing this.
It is the Taylor Swift
Yeah.
one. So the last one we have here today is Jennifer Lopez was spotted holding hands
these
with
two.
Matt Damon following her split
No,
with Ben
it's
Affleck.
A-Rod.
Yeah.
It's A-Rod. She's
Bouncing
I
around.
can't keep track. It was Ben Affleck, A-Rod, Ben Affleck, A-Rod.
Yeah, she's bouncing around Jenny from the block, around the block.
Yeah, she's got something that keeps them boys coming back.
Think of the back end, maybe?
Sick of that.
All right.
That is fake.
I agree.
That is a real headline.
What?
Well, like as friends, there's no way Damon's doing anything with her, so maybe they're
I
just
don't
being
know.
friends.
That was the headline.
All right.
Well, you know that freaking just because headlines are real doesn't mean they're actually
That's
real.
not the game, though, Sam. Is the headline real?
Yes, but the actual thing is not real. Shane, don't be fucking with my boy Damon.
Yeah.
Rounders.
He's in the trap
best,
now.
Best Damon movie, Rounders.
Really? You think that was the best one?
Yes.
Departed, bro.
Departed's good.
So good.
He's really good.
He's good in that. He doesn't play that role much, but he's good in that kind of shitty, corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was good. He's good in. I mean, it's a different role, but he's pretty darn good in Oppenheimer too.
Yeah.
He's good in most of the shit he does. He's a good actor.
Yeah, I forgot he was in Oppenheimer. Yeah.
That guy.
That
He's fun.
guy.
He's that dude. All right. Lucas Riddle. This is where I make Lucas look silly.
I
and
haven't
it's-
even looked at him.
You're gonna get at least 2 of these. All right. Riddle me this, Lucas. Kids love me, and I am best when just cracked. What am I?
A joke? An egg?
An egg.
My kids love eggs. Is it
Yeah.
a joke?
Glow stick.
Okay.
I'll give you half because those are right. I didn't think about joke. You just crack a joke.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right, we'll give you a point for that one. How about that? All
Yeah,
right.
it was a little more literal.
Where are sick boats taken?
Oh, gosh. This is more like a joke than a riddle, right? Oh, gosh. Hospital, morgue, graveyard,
Sick, not dead.
sick, not dead. Okay. So something that's a hospital, but it's in boat terms. Harbor, dock. I can't think of it.
Fucking had doctor. You said
Doctor.
doc. And my eyes open.
Yeah, the dock door.
Are these AI images you're creating?
This one was, yes. It took me way too long to get to this.
The dock
Well,
door.
the
I
doctor,
like
well, the
it.
Chat GPT, the one version I have, you can make unlimited images and they do them really well.
Yeah, I was using Adobe's Firefly.
Freaking
so
knock
that's probably
knock
why.
joke, Shane.
Yeah, these aren't riddles, these are jokes, but I like it. He's 1 for 2. All right, last one. You might get this one. This is, again, a similar, a little bit like a joke, too. But what is the most expensive fish?
The most expensive fish. The goldfish.
Yep,
Yeah.
2 for 3. Good job. I thought you'd do all right there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was 2 for 3, but I had a decent answer on one.
You should have done like a AI image of a goldfish that's actually made a gold gainer.
Yeah, geez, dude.
I will do better next time.
Please do.
Oh man. All right, true or false, Sam? Your turn to look dumb. All right, first one. Ostriches bury their heads in the sand when they are scared.
See, I don't know that they do it when they're scared. I know that whole saying of bury your head in the
Sleep like
sand.
that?
Yeah, sleep like that, or they do it to like eat. I don't know, but I'm going to say false because I don't know the scared part throwing me off. So false.
It is false. Why do they bury their head in the sand?
I don't think they do.
I think
They
do
don't-
flamingos or somebody,
Somebody does, yeah.
I'm
But-
pretty sure from the very brief research I did with this, they don't do it at all.
All right. Okay, number 2. Earth's atmosphere is mostly oxygen.
Again, I'm going to go false because you go high up in the atmosphere and oxygen's not there. That's why people can't breathe. That's why you need those things. And there's probably a lot of oxygen high up in the air. Being a sphere, the farther away you go, the more surface area there is.
Yeah, I see
That's
what you're
why
saying.
you're closer. Yes,
a lot of air, lot of surface area as you go higher, right?
and it's not oxygen.
the
up there.
oxygen is like what?
All lower.
5,000, 10,000 and lower.
With the
But
trees and
then-
photosynthesis.
But then
Man,
the Earth goes from like 10,000 to
I don't know how many miles.
100,000.
Yeah, a couple miles up, probably the atmosphere. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say false.
Yeah, it is false. Correct. What is it mostly?
It's mostly carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide.
Which
that is not healthy.
Your reasoning was not
Shane, you don't know.
Eh.
because different air molecules have different weights. So at different altitudes, you'll have different.
That's what I was saying.
compositions.
Well, I guess you're saying, but also, oxygen also comes through photosynthesis. It takes carbon dioxide and makes it into.
What about on the ground level,
Oxygen.
Shane? Is oxygen the high?
Oxygen is more dense.
Is it
Yeah, so
is it higher than carbon dioxide?
Carbon dioxide is heavier, I believe, but like once you go up, you're getting like helium, hydrogen, things
Okay.
like that.
So I worded, but I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, 2 for 2, no big deal.
All right. Number 3, the Aztec civilization was primarily located in what is now Canada.
That seems like an obvious false to me, so I'm thinking maybe true because, I mean, the most of the Aztecs were down south, and I don't know of a ton of like ruins, and I know they're not Mayans, but like Aztec Mayan ruins down south. I know there's some stuff around here, the Akokia Mount and things like that, but I don't know a ton of it up north. So
Is that the Aztecs?
No, but that's just the, I don't know, similar time frame, I think, within thousands of years. So I'm going to say, I feel like it's probably true, but I'm just going to go with my gut and say false and think he tried to 3 false me.
He did. He 3 falsed you. Great job, Sam. Located in what is now Mexico, down south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what, like, Mayan Aztecs are different, but I think they were all in the same area,
Yeah.
is my point.
And where the Mayans, was that like, that's in like the United States, right? Like the Southwest a little bit?
Probably a little. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there was all, up and down the whole, like, thing
Yeah.
from, I would guess, like, maybe Missouri down to the freaking south of Mexico, but cool.
I believe it was primarily Peru, so South America,
For
West
Mayans?
Coast. I believe
Okay.
so.
What was the group in United States? Pueblo? Was that a group? Or is that a town?
Pueblo Native Americans, I believe.
Wait, actually, Mayans might have been. I think it was Incas that I looked up.
Yeah, Incans, I
yeah.
believe, are in South America. Yes,
Yeah.
I think Mayans were Mexico.
All right, great job. 3 for 3, bro.
I feel like people are realizing my immense knowledge of history.
No,
in
you're
this.
just proving that true and false is that much more easy than the riddles.
This next quote is you write what you just said, so say it because you
All right,
own
this
it.
is from Mike Tomlin, the
This
head
is
coach
Lucas.
of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Excuses are tools of the incompetent.
And you're a tool because you just made an excuse for not getting 3 for 3.
I didn't make an excuse.
Yes,
I
your
just
excuse was true
combated
false
your
is
ego.
easy. True
I
false
just
is
combated your
easier.
ego to try to bring you down to life.
True false is easier. Thanks, I appreciate that. Great, try to bring me down. You've been doing that for 30 years now. Excuses are. I agree. I think that's a good saying. I mean, excuses are like buttholes. Everybody has one, and they all stink.
Yeah, I think some of the most
Right, Shane?
powerful people or successful people that I've ever talked to or seen, like, even if they have like a legitimate excuse for not accomplishing something or whatever, like they don't even mention it. Like, hey, I didn't get it done. I'm gonna do better, right? So it's crazy. I love that.
All right, let's get it. Back to the trash
trash
can.
it.
What are we're close to? We've been in a minute.
Two away.
All right, the
Where you
score
going?
is
I'm
19.
gonna just retry right hand here just to get some wins.
let you go first, bro.
All right, Lucas is up first. He's shooting from the middle.
That is a trash can.
I have no idea.
All right,
Lumber.
Lucas is shooting first. He shoots. It's in. Simple. All right, now
step
we've got a
back
view
next
of
time.
Sam this week in the corner.
Let's go. Oh gosh,
So
that is a
he's-
view.
He's trying to make up
He
a
is
little bit of
dancing.
extra.
You're good at it. All right, here's the shot. It's like your free throw. It's like when people stand. It's like when people stand at the line and like.
That's what my had was basketball. Of any of my athletic things. It's not
All right, he shoots. It's short, so he's going back.
Back to forward, back to left-handed. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. We hope you got some major value from our conversation. If you love what you learn, make sure you like, rate, review the show, and help us spread the word by telling a friend.
If you'd like to learn more about working with me inside one of my programs, we'll have those links in the show notes, along with all our social media handles, so you connect with us there for free. If there's a real estate question you'd like us to answer, feel free to send us a message and we'll cover it in an upcoming show.